What's happening, folks? Back with another reaction, back with some more Roxette. Once again, major thank you to Michaela, who has provided a great deal of music, including physical releases, including multiple Roxette releases, and who sent me Charm School, which I'm very excited is the album proper, plus live performances from some different locations. And I noticed they're tunes that go back like multiple albums. It's not just like a live version of Charm School, which, that would be great too, but I love that there's some familiar sights. And I'm forgetting to mention, there was a line about sleeping in your car in the Way Out track, and I enjoy the cheeky, like, self-reference there. In any case, the next track on Charm School, the album proper, is No One Makes It on Her Own. And first of all, to speak about the meaning that I derive from the line on the page, is the idea that, everyone's life, no matter how talented and successful you are individually, that talent, in some cases, and even again, if you have this innate gift and so on, you often cultivate it, you often develop it, you often learn from others within the context of people who came before you, people who support you, people around you, whether it's family, friends, or people who are keen to see you utilize that talent and those gifts in a positive way. But even beyond that, the idea of chance encounters, happenstance, significant meetings, a network that grows, it's all part of how people, again, even those who likely were destined, so to speak, to become successful or famous and so on, no one gets there without other people being around. And of course, on a more fundamental level, if you are an artist, a singer, an athlete, an academic even, you can only become those things if there's people who care, if there's people who are interested in what you're doing. So I like the phrase in of itself, no one makes it on her own. I do have to also comment, I love the phrasing, the use of the female pronoun. And I say that as someone who, my degrees in college and grad school, they're in history. And if you look at like history books and articles going back, decades, back to the, early 20th century and so on, when there's a hypothetical person being referenced, if there is a gendered pronoun, it is almost exclusively male. It's like, when a doctor does this, he's going to do this. Or when someone wants to accomplish this, he should do this, and so on. And of course that speaks to the like male-centric attitudes, views, and nomenclature of people. And in many cases, it might not have been, let's say, misogynistic or, what's the right word, like prejudicial, and yet it speaks to, again, just the way that public speech was often framed around males more than females. And then in more recent historical writings, you'll see when a historian does this or that, she will write this. Like, there was a deliberate idea of rebalancing that. And so I remember when I first started seeing articles and monographs, meaning like a book written by one person, where you'd see an alternation, like a historian does this, he might do this. But when a historian is in this case, she might do this. It's like, I like that. Like, I like the balance of that. And so I began to incorporate that into my own writing. And I think it is, of course, reflective of the way that the human species is made up of males and females. And so if hypothetical people are always being referenced as males, it just seems unbalanced. So that may have nothing to do with this. But when I saw it, like, no one makes it on her own, I was like, I like the phrasing of that. Because again, some people, if they were to articulate a similar sentiment, they'd either say their own, which again is more neutral, or they'd say his own, which is, again, maybe not meant to be male-centric, but it speaks to, again, so much of the, like the idea of like, humans are like, and mankind, which again, it's not necessarily prejudicial, but it is indicative of older ways of speaking that I think have been rebalanced in more recent times. I will stop talking now, and we will listen to this tune. This is Roxette, No One Makes It on Her Own, from Charm School, 2011.
Have you ever had a feeling you take it all for granted? You wake up every morning and expect to rise. Have you ever had a moment to look into the mirror, to find a person who won't open her eyes? Have you ever felt a presence, or is it all in the past, dear? So mesmerizing, it chills you to the bone. Have you ever been in love and overcome that first fear? Well, then you know that no one makes it on their own. Did you ever catch the sunset right across the ocean? The universe revealed and it didn't make sense at all. When you came into my world, causing quite the commotion. I could have sworn I met you many times before. 'Cause there's something in your eyes that links us together. Something about your face, your lips, just might look so long. Have you ever been in love and thought it lasts forever? Well, then you know no one makes it on their own. Nobody makes it. Hey, there's something in your eyes that links us together. Something about your face and lips just might look so long. Have you ever been in love and thought it lasts forever? Then you know no one makes it on their own. Nobody makes it on their own.
Number one, I think it's very smart and appropriate to begin a Roxette album after they reformed with the first two songs having Pear and then Marie on lead, or in reverse order. It could have been Marie first and then Pear. But I like the idea that the first two songs, they both appear vocally, but one is a Pear song, one is a Marie song. I think that is very cleverly and appropriately done. Secondarily, I enjoy the soulful stylings of Marie's singing. She does some different things here, including some like non-lyrical vocalizations, or like vocalizations that are like between the lines, if you will. And I enjoy, again, like rich and expressive, but also like elegant and delicate at some other moments. And yeah, I enjoy the sonics. They kind of have this like soulful, emotional rock sound to them, especially once it gets going. At first it's, you know, more minimal, more like vocal centric. And lyrically, I feel like it's maybe less about like life trajectory overall and more like another person, like specifically, you know, romantic or intimate, someone being there to help you get up in the morning, to help you get through the day, to help you process the little moments of life, the emotions you feel. It feels more like one-to-one and less about like, well, I've gotten to where I am because of all these people, people when I was younger, people that have helped me professionally and so on. So yeah, it felt a bit more narrow and targeted than I was thinking in advance, and very related to love. Now again, I'm reading those lines as romantic love, but I suppose it could be, taken at least one or two of the lines in some different ways, like, love in terms of just caring deeply about someone. But ultimately, I do very much view Marie's vocal performance here as the kind of centerpiece of the track, and I do enjoy the guitar work as well. So yeah, definitely a compelling opening to this album. I am looking forward to it all, and once again, we've got live performances here on disc 2. Thank you again to Michaela for the disc, and as I mentioned in the previous reaction, also for sending me a physical copy of Look Sharp. And it's interesting, Michaela mentioned that the documentary that I did a watch along for, the idea that this album cover broke them, not broke them, but gave them a break in a way that might not have happened, or that like brought them to the American market and a wider audience when, maybe they would have had to wait longer, keep pushing and keep struggling. But it is such a compelling album cover, and the idea of like, oh wait, it's a newspaper article, and that like Marie looking very glamorous. I think it is a very, number one, well done album cover, and number two, the place of this album and this album cover specifically in their story, I find really, really interesting and very satisfying. So yes, I'm happy to have a copy of it myself, and at some point this will be up on my music wall. Not where you, like, I've had to expand this way and it is off camera, but at some point I'll do another behind the scenes video over on my Patreon. So those of you who check things out over there will be able to check it out. In any case, let me know what you think, and I will see you next time. Peace.